Okay, this is starting. I never worked with this camera, but I'd like to tell you who's tearing down the roof. This is more live than ever before. Who's tearing down the roof? Who's tearing down the roof? What am I talking about? Is that they had separated us from the spirit. Okay, they separated us from the spirit. They put blocks down. They lowered the roof. By lowering the roof, the spirit, okay, by lowering the roof, I'm going to tell you two stories because I don't know which one to go to. Level 2, level 5, level 8, level 8. How do I get this? Because when you go to the dartboard, the actuality of the 50 is for 8 times 45. So in order to get 50 in the center, you must go 8 times something to attain the 50 because it comes from 4 parts, 1, 2, and 5. 512 megabytes, 512 memory, whatever you want. 5, 1, and 2 equals to 8. 12.5 times 4. But you also have to regard that it is a solid. It is the only solid you can ever get. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 256. Times 2 is 512. Times 2 times 2 is 4. It's 2048. And then 4096. And we have to stop. 4 corners of the palms. 4 corners of the palms. We brought 1 to 5. Okay. 40 and 96 is 4 by 24. 24 is 2468. It's the cross. 2468 is the cross. It is the middle of 1 and 2 and 4 and 5. It is the middle of 2 and 3 and 5 and 6. It is the middle between 4 and 5 and 7 and 8. And it is the middle between 5 and 6 and 8 and 9. And it is the middle in low shu. Okay? But it turns. What happens to 2, 4, 6, and 8? From a plus, it becomes a multiple. And now when you put low shu in, the top left-hand corner is the 4, in which you have to understand, because low shu is on an angle, you now have a 4 that's separated into 2 worlds, and none of any choice. That's the way it is. They raise and they lower. In darts, okay, in darts, can we see this? Do I have too much light here? In darts, okay, so hold on a second, give me a second. In darts, okay, we center at 50. What if we, hold on a second, hold on. Is that a little bit better? And let me fix this screen here a little bit. Okay, there. Okay, and in darts, okay, we start down at 5. And wouldn't it be easier to divide everything by 2.5? Since 5 is so easy and we know the middle one is 3, wouldn't it be always 2.5? 2.5 plus 1 is 3.5. 6 minus 2.5? 3.5. It's all 3.5. 53, 35, 53, 35, whichever way you want to go. 53, 35. Now what we're going to do is, I know it's very hard to see. 5, 7.5. 10. Now this is the 5 is the 50. 7.5, okay, multiplied by 4 equals to 30. 5 times 6 is 30. Now 7 plus 5 is 12.5. But you have to actually take diameter, everything is cut in half. So there's another 7.5 in this one, equaling to 15, equaling to a circle. The next one will be a circle of 10, will equal to 20 to another circle. The next one is 17.5, 35. Remember 3.5 I was telling you? 17.5 is now 35, and that will make a circle. This will make 20, 20, that'll make a circle, and this will make 5. Do you know why? Because this is the center of all 4. Once you get 4, 5 becomes the center. Now we're starting a new one. The candelabra, upside down, what we do is we go to the left and to the right. How did this start? All I brought was a straight rod all the way down. Don't forget, all the lines come all the way down. So if you connect to all these lines, okay, if you connect to all these lines, you will now recreate. So what they do is they move us, and they move the gravitational and the oceans around. By moving the oceans around, the extension cord that comes in, that sprinkles spirit on us, constantly tingling us, silver little lights that you see in the sky, silver lights in the sky, you see them all the time. That's the reflection in the water, my friend. That is the spirit. So they go all over, and all of a sudden, they get to level 1, they get to level 2, they get to level 3, and all of a sudden, they're into 4 parts. They steal one of the 4 aspects of life by adding to it. Why? Because when they connect to this world, spirit is perfect until it comes into this world. How can we distort it? So they separate an extra energy. Those mountains, when you go high, the reason you feel funny is because you're not supposed to be high. You're supposed to be right onto the ground, because we're bolted into the ground of this earth. And they moved us apart by moving the oceans apart. And this candelabra, what happens is that after you get to the first one, the second one, the third one, and each one drops. And now you duck and web feed them all together until finally you've picked up all the spirit of the good Lord. You gave back the original spirits. Then you start to distort it. 1 world, 2 world, 3 world, and then the advertising and everything else added into it. You know, I'm going to go. I just want to tell you something about my. I'm going for a report for my license about that marijuana deal that the doctor claims I'm smoking and I'm distorted and I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, they just passed a law here just yesterday. Medical marijuana is now considered a legal drug here where I live, 2 days before my court date. Now, you don't say I'm not lucky. Now they can't use illegal against me. So we make the bird, the owl, the dog. You remember all the spots on the owls? Or all these birds that have spots? The reason is because the spirit goes all the way around. And it only can get stored up to 10%. So they moved it around 10%, and they made man work for 110% of his funds. Why 10%? Because of who he is, 20. Don't forget, whatever's to the left and whatever's to the right, and everything becomes the value of every single value of inside. When you're in your house, every place has the same value in the totality. It's one home. So this is what we build, and we turn it upside down if you want. We can try and figure out what does it look like. Wings, birds, 3, 3. Then over here is the M. The reason for the M letter, because it takes these 2 sides of spirit that come together to create the first M. Then the E comes together, M-E-E-M-E. Okay? The A is created by the mustache, okay? The first link right over here, where it brings its first spread wing to its second spread wing, and its mustache keeps going all the way down, its little chin over here, the separation, bringing them all together to the same main strand, out and in, never missing a spot. So this is what they did. They intertwined within this. So now you see all this spotted animal that runs around, and you have to understand the way the spirit coils work. And each of the letters E and M represent game. M and E is the 5 and the 13, and pull it is orange. Okay, 5 and 13 is orange, represents 1, 3, and 5, which is ACE. It's ace orange. Ace orange. So what was that representation in the movie in Orange County or Clockwork Orange? Okay, what did they do in that movie? Back to the darts. 50 goes over here, 25 goes over here. 50 and 25. Okay, that's 75. 7.5 is George, because 6 times the 3 on this side and the 3 on this side. 6 times 7 is 42. 2 and 4, 8 and 6, 10 worlds, and 5 is always to remain in the center. 0.5 is always in the center. 5 is always in the center. Forget about all the other calculations. When you work it at this, you start at 2.5. 2.5, 125 on each side becomes 625. Why? Let's measure it again. 1.25 times 5 equals 625. The main menu over here, 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 25 is 625. Okay? 1.25, 2.50, 3.75. When you have 3.75, it's 12 times 3.75 to equal a 45 degree angle. 12 times 3.75 equal to a 45. And the L letter Okay, because when you put two numbers together, it's the L letter. L, when you put them together, the O brings the E world in. You automatically get the E world because 1 and 2 go over 5. So the E world comes in, Ebola. 375 times 12, the two worlds of 6 and 6 are created, 45. 2.5 into 45 is 10, is 25, and it's 10, and then it's 8. So it's 18, 63, 27. It's perfect, 99. So we add these up. 125, 375, 1 1/4 makes it 5 again. So now we know the next 1 1/4 added onto here. 3.75, 5, 6.25. 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 equals 625. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. 41 times 625 equals to 25,625 with the Mayan count. Connecting the dartboard, connecting to the candelabra of how spirit works in the silver lights. Okay? Everything is precise. It's not just falling like that. It can't just fall like that, because otherwise, if it did just fall like that, the system can change it. They can only distort it. They moved us down by 10%. The allotted allocation of the mind was 10%. 10%, okay? Why? Because you never leave home without 90%, which is 1/4. 1/4 plus 10% is the space you have between the top and the bottom. It's an extension cord. They put it in and they're adding something to the sprinkle every single day when you see those planes in the sky. Every single day that your car burns, they're adding to the spirit of how you feel. And then they're putting it into a computer. And then they're trying to force you over to feel that way. I know I was there. And how do I know I was there? Because that's the way I say I felt. And that's all it is. It's only you. Your story's good enough for me. Whatever you tell me, you don't have to convince me. I'll believe whether I want or I don't like. So we started this, okay, how this works. 6 and 6 is 12. 0.25, 0.25, okay, is 12.5. 125, 512 memory. 2.5. 2 and 5, 5 and 2, 77 of price. And there's a whole numerological count with numbers. But remember, in darts there's 20. But no, we remove the center 5 numbers, okay, for the separation of the two sides, 2.5 up and 2.5 down. Remove 5 numbers, there's only 15 numbers together. And those 15 numbers go into the pull game. And you use the cue ball for the 16th ball to make the separation and the application to have the equality with all the other balls. 1 ball for 7 balls, and 1 ball for 7 balls, and 1 ball for the 8th ball. That's shared between the two houses. Stripes and solids. This is the chicken foot. This is Venus. Venus. Venus got between everybody. Venus got between everybody. Venus got between everybody. She's number 2. Do you know what they did? 1 alpha, you know what it is? 2, number 1 is on the left. He's in the number 1 position. He's in the number 1 corner. He stays there. He's not moving. He's in the middle. He's good. It's good the way it is. But number 3 has number 2 inside of it already. He says, hey, number 1, we're coming over. I'm bringing my 2 friends. We're going to jump in. So number 3 jumps into number 1. It becomes number 4. Spreads out on 3 corners. Still need the corner that you came out of. You were crying there all day when the teacher told you to stop talking. All of a sudden, you got 4. The phone is ringing. Just give me a second. Hello? I'm busy doing a video right now. We're online. Yeah. So, I don't know. No, it was not. No, it was not. Definitely right now it's not worth it. I have to see. It might be video. It might be Bell because it's running. He told me, he says my computer's terrible. He says my computer's fast, but it's not running good at all. He hooked up his computer to it, and it was terrible. But now I'm able to do, he fixed something on it. I'm able to do an upload on YouTube direct. I don't have to go to my camera to do it. So I'm doing that right now. What are you doing? You're eating lunch? All right. Okay. All right. So you, do I need anything after? Do you want me to call you back? Yeah, I would like it back. And guess what? They just passed a law in Quebec for me. I told you already what it was. Well, somebody just confirmed it with me. They just passed a new medical marijuana, making marijuana now legal medically. So it's now legal in the state. Yeah, but absolutely, absolutely, it's all over the news. Apparently, I never saw it. Oh no. No, it doesn't matter. It's a kangaroo court. It's just they have their own judges. But but their judges are against it because they're not allowed. A judge cannot judge any driving while you're doing something illegal. They shouldn't give you a driver's permit if you're doing anything illegal. So smoking marijuana was illegal before, but now it's not. So now if they don't give you your license now, it has to be of health reasons. It can't. It's like you're driving with a gun in your car, and we catch you one time, two times, three times, four times. Now we can take away your car. Same thing. Same. Whatever it is, whatever the chance is, I'll tell you the day after it happens. But I did do something fantastic. I moved over the plug for my computer. Now I can turn my computer around and do two-way videos. Yeah, I checked all that. I did that last month. I did that. Listen, I gotta finish this thing. I'm gonna call you back near 2. Bye. Thanks. Bye. My son. So we were talking. Usually I forget, right? You didn't forget. You could. Well, I'll get it in the video to remember. So this 2.5 creates 7.5 and 7.5 minus our plus. It's 5775. Now where do I get 5775? Well, 5, okay, is the house of 5. It means everything inside of here. 1 up, 1 out to each side, and 1 below, creating 3. Creating 3 between 5 at 3.125 and 3.125. 3.125 and 3.125, in which I have to take 3/4 of that because every time we get a different house, one of the corners are already taken because it's a passage. It's like turning everything around this pen. Everything around this pen is taken by the pen. So now we end up over here at pi would be 3.125, and pi is 3.14. 141. 1 through 5, 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. 3 worlds, 3.75. 3.75 times 12, 45, 360 degrees. 12, every corner, every 90 degrees. This, every 90 degrees is 24. 24, 24, 24, 24. Every 90 degrees is 24. Okay, it's 24 times 375. Okay, 24 by 375 is 24 by 4 is actually 96. So that's how all these numbers come together, because we're building one on top of another on top of another. You don't just put a tire on the car. I mean, the whole truck is a foot thick. But by the time you put everything on top in its place and give it the space for everything to lift, I mean, you square it off every inch. We don't make anything, we make things bigger. Everything has to fit. I mean, look what they do with the motor. They squeeze it in the car. They squeeze it in the car. So now you have this 375. Now you have this. This becomes 4 times. It takes 4 times, okay? 24. 24 equals a 90 angle, okay? 90 times 4 equals 360 degrees. 360 degrees plus 15 for the angle circle, for the area space, equals 375 again. To man, 5.25 is 365.25 days a year. For the 364th moon, okay, the 364th for the 4 corners of the die of the moon connected to the 21 to connect the year. 21 minus 4, stop on 17 in blackjack. Okay, the queen is 17, 1 and 7 to the gateway, because 7 meets 1 again in the piano when it becomes the 8th one. And then it becomes the 15th one, H meets O. A-G-H-O, ho, 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 because of how the piano hooks up. 1, 7, 8, H, 15, O, O-G, ho, 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 O-G, because it's G-A, 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 and the next one will be G-A-O, G-A-H. So G and G is 14. Now the dice would be on the side. Why? Because the A is up and down. If it was the E, the 5 would be up and down. If it was the I, it would show 9. And how do you show 9? Which number would actually show 9 is the 3. The 3 would show the 9 because you can turn it sideways and put 3 and 3 on each side, holding up the diamond in between two sides is 1, 5, 1, Roman numeral 9 and 11, Roman numeral 4, 5, and 6. So now this is how we would create this. 3 and 3 would make 6.25 here. It would be 11.25. 1, 2, 5. Add the 4 corners. It would be 51.25. 51.25 times 5 is 25,625 of the Mayan count. 11.25. Remember, when you have all these 4 numbers, if you're in the house of 1, okay, 1 automatically, the house of 1 means 1, 2, 5 have come into 1. A new spirit has come in. It has 1 to the left, 1 to the right, okay? 1 to the left and 1 to the right, 1 to the left and 1 to the right. Okay, this is the way it is. You have to have your I don't know if I drew it exactly. They made it the Venus world, okay? It's just the 3 dice is over here. And they just open up an arm with an outstretched arm, and he made a place for man to live. We ain't taking up that much space, you know. We take away all these companies and all these huge companies. We got tons of place. We got tons. Do you know that for every job you have, they have a building for you? Somebody else is paying rent at a place you're working. How many buildings do we need to house us? If we removed all the businesses and did all our work in our own backyard and made our land at our own backyard twice the size as it is right now, we wouldn't even use up half the space they use for the highways, the byways, and the businesses. For us to go somewhere else to be happy when every time we go and come, we always have to get back to work. If we'd stop all this, we'd be home all the time. We wouldn't be working. We'd need the minimum amount to do the maximum of things. But don't forget, when you're building, it took 20 darts, 10 and 10, right? It was 10 and 10. We must remove the ore. The ore is 5. Remove the ore, so there's 7 on this side, there's 7 on this side, and then there's the black ball. This is what your dartboard looks in full. Okay, you remove 5 numbers, you create 15 over here. Instead of 20 numbers, minus 5 numbers. Okay, 5 to the left and 5 to the right actually, but you're removing 5 numbers, 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. I bet you I can build this with blocks and give it all numbers. So you remove it, remove the 5 blocks, okay? And when you remove the 5 blocks, you only have 15 left. The 8 ball goes in the center. 7 and 7 and full. The 8 ball goes here. This one plays from 9. This one plays from 7. 8 becomes 101. So when you're looking at 101, 8 gets another circle on it. Put a circle on the 8 because it's 101 between the 2 sides. I was trying to think there was something else I wanted to say. 15 away from here. 2.5 away from here. 17.5 boxed in. 858 is 88. You know why? The 1/2 of this center over here and the 1/2 of the center over there will create the 88. Remember, Venus was created. 2468 is in between. Okay, now my question is like this. Let's remove 2468 and squeeze the numbers together. 1 and 3 comes together, 7 and 9 comes together. All you have is 2468 now. The 2468 is the dark line in between the cubes of each side. Each cube, it's an individual house. Just because you only see a color, there's a lot that goes on, and a color is a number. A number has reason and value for somebody else. Maybe not for us, but for somebody else. I already know they do it and they color code with it all the time. It always means something else. You go to the hydro, you see a color, you know it's a 220 volts. You saw the machine and the motor that was connected to the 220 volt. It took 25 men to operate. By the time you got to the end of the machine, all it was a little manette at the end that was yellow and it said where it came from. But that's it. You have to understand that when you walk into this, I wanted to walk on since this is pretty much live. I hope it doesn't shut down. But I'm going to end it here and come back with something else. Yes, this is quite enough. I'm hoping this works. I'm hoping this works. You're getting to see a little bit what's in the background right now. I want to cancel out that light. And let's just charge. Let's just go forward with this. Thank you for watching.